I was going to make a video on where to go to make new friends, but that's not what this video is going to be about. I genuinely had an outline, and I think I will make a video about that on those things later in the future. But instead, what this video is going to be about is the fact that even though we can attempt to make friends, the fact of the matter is that it's hard. I'm just gonna give a few tips that I have taken on and started using myself when it comes to making new friends, which has been really crucial since I moved to a city where I knew maybe one or two people. So I have to be really intentional about inviting people into my life and then also sustaining that relationship. This video specifically is about tips on how to feel good about yourself while making friends, how to stretch yourself while making friends, because that's important too. So let's just get right into it. First things first, build yourself up. Write down what you love about yourself, what you find cool about yourself, maybe even some cool stories about yourself. The last one, I actually need to do because sometimes people ask me about myself and I don't exactly have stories, but at the end of the day, I feel awesome about myself. I love myself. I love being myself. Not to say I'm someone who doesn't have insecurities, but I love myself, and I think that makes it easier for other people to like and love you. When you show up in a space and you just feel good about yourself, other people feel good about you too. So that is my first tip. Feel good about yourself by pouring into yourself. That can be, if you have to do for a week, just write down one thing you enjoy about yourself, that you find cool about yourself. Do that so that you can walk into a space with confidence that other people might be able to see that in you as well. If you have a hobby and you've met someone new, then invite that new person, if it seems right, to that hobby. Or if you have an event that you really like to go to, say the movies, a comedy show, the theater, and you've met someone new and they mentioned that they enjoy that as well, invite them to that hobby or event that you typically go to. So for example, if I love comedy shows, right, and I just met someone who has mentioned their favorite comedian, we go our separate ways, and a week later I see a comedy show coming up, it makes sense for me to invite that person. We hit it off, we vibe, I know they like this thing, I also like this thing, so I'm going to invite this person to this event. I think it's easy to make connections with people. It is very hard to sustain those connections if you don't meet these people at a place of work or if you don't already have mutual friends. So you have to make an active effort to see where in your life you have a connection with this new person you've met who you want to foster a friendship with. Find what you have in common and invite that person into the thing that you have in common. This person likes comedy to some extent, and if you like comedy as well, next time you see a comedy show come up that piques your interest, you can reach out to this person you want to foster this friendship with and be like, hey, you mentioned you like Ali Wong, you like comedy, this comedy show is coming up, would you like to join me? When you are making friends in a new city, say if you don't have a common ground, you don't have a connector, like work where you'll see them every other day or a mutual friend, then you have to make an active effort to see where is it that I can sustain this friendship. Like how is it that me and this person who we just met at this random event, we have no reason to really get in contact with each other. Sure, on the surface, we want to maintain this friendship, we hit it off, we had a vibe, we connected, but at the end of the day, life is going to carry you away. Maybe you have other friends, you have a job, you have other things that you're interested in. You have to make an active effort to find that connection between you and this new friend. And that's by paying attention to the things that you have in common and then bringing that person along to an event or an occasion that is about that thing that you two have in common. Assume goodwill. I think it's easy to get in your head when you're meeting new people about what they may think about you and how you're coming off, but just going to a room being really naive and I guess borderline delusional and just being like, everyone is the nicest person in the entire world and no one has any ill intentions towards me. Because even if it's not true, what good do you get from just being in your head and being negative and thinking about all the negative things someone might be thinking about you? It doesn't really aid you. At least it doesn't aid me. So when you're going into a room to meet new people, an event, a dinner that's hosted by another friend, assume goodwill. Assume that everyone in the room wants to get to know you in a positive way. Everyone in the room is interested in you. Even if their actions aren't showing it, just assume goodwill. If someone is giving you a cold shoulder, I honestly try my best not to take things personally. I know whenever I'm irritated, first of all, I try not to push that out onto other people, but I know whenever I am irritated and if that's really visible, then that typically has nothing to do with the other person. That just has to do with whatever is going on with me internally. I just assume goodwill whenever I'm walking into a room, and even if someone's giving me a weird vibe or a vibe that I'm assuming is negative, I just assume that it has nothing to do with me. I assume that they've had a bad day, they just got laid off. I don't really know what's happening in their eternal world because I've just met this person. I'm gonna assume the best and give that person another shot in the future, but in that moment, I'm not gonna make it a negative thing about me. This one is a bit cheesy. Don't try and impress anyone, just be yourself. It is very likely to get into your heads when you're meeting new people about how you're showing up and how you're coming off, but at the end of the day, you just want friends who are going to accept you for who you are authentically. If that's the case and you just want friends who are going to like and love you for who you are, then you need to show up 100% as who you are. No need to come up with the best stories. I know I mentioned in an earlier tip to come up with cool stories, but that's more so to bolster yourself, to make you realize how cool you are, because you are. It's more so to impress yourself. But in this case, just walking to a space with no intentions or motive to impress anyone, just go into space with the intention to have fun and be yourself. Those two things. Yes, be yourself, but also have fun while doing it, because at the end of the day, while it is intimidating to meet new people and try intentionally to make friends, it is also fun. It's really cool to get to know a different human being who you've never encountered before. It's not an experience we get to have every single day. So why not just show up and be yourself and see how things go? I guess this one could be a little weird, and that is to like people. I'm a deep introvert. I remember when I used to think that I didn't like people because I didn't realize that the fact that I got my energy from being on my own didn't have to mean that I didn't like people. But when you like people, when you genuinely like people, it just makes it easier for you to bring people into your life. So when I say like people, I mean actually be engaged with the human being that you're meeting, listen to their stories, listen to the details about themselves. I'm not saying you have to remember all of them. It's hard to remember details about people. I forget the names of people all the time, but I tend to remember a majority of the information they've given me, like where they come from, how they ended up in the city that they're living in, what school they went to, maybe a funny story they've told, because I'm genuinely interested in the stories that people have to tell. You're either being enlightened about who that person is, you're either learning something, you're either being entertained. There is something in each individual that you're meeting. I would say lean into that. Look into the fact that we as individuals, as human beings, all have something really special about us, and look forward to meeting each individual that you do meet. And believe me, I understand that there are a lot of annoying and frustrating people out there, and maybe I've just been really fortunate, but I found that the majority of people in this world are kind and trying their best. And when you are actively trying to understand and hear people and listen to them, it makes the process of trying to make friends way more easier, because then you're not only going into this trying to make friends, right? You're not only going to an event or a dinner trying to make friends, you're also going for the experience of just interacting with another human being because you like human beings. So that's a little bit of an oddball tip, but just making an intention to just, in general, like humans, the people we get to share this earth with. This one's tough for me, and I actively have to remind myself about this one, and I think it's in the book, The 4 Agreements too, but it is, do not take anything personally. This varies case by case. When we're in these situations of group settings or just meeting new people, there is nuance there, and where it makes sense, try not to take things personally. Everyone has their own internal world. You have to be mindful of that and just realize everyone's going to show up in the world differently, not the same way as you. They're not going to approach friendships and meeting people and speaking with people the same way you do. So you have to leave room for people to be who they are. Obviously, still making sure that you're respected as a human being, just with a nuance. Do not take certain things personally when you're interacting with a new potential friend, especially as you're getting to know a person, because everyone has their own things that they're dealing with, their own past and history that influences the way that they show up and interact with other people. And there's no way you can know all of that, this person's history, this person's upbringing, when you first meet them. When you're meeting someone, you don't know them well enough most of the time. So it really helps you to not take things personally and give people room to be who they are. As a bona fide homebody who is an introvert, this next one is pretty hard for me. And that is to try and say yes as much as possible. Even if it's a partial yes, just try and show up. If you get an invite from a new friend or someone who could be a potential friend, try your best to say yes. That's pretty straightforward. I don't really have much else to add to that unless it's something that you deeply hate doing. Say if you have a friend who invites you to the theater and you hate going to the theater, you can say no, but then suggest something else that you can go to. But I try to accept as many invitations from people who I want to foster friendships with as possible. And then for some reason I can't make it, I try to suggest other things. And I think the reasoning is pretty obvious. When people extend invitations, they will take no for an answer so many times before they just stop extending invitations. So when you get an invitation for someone who you want to be friends or foster a friendship with, say yes whenever you can. And then on top of that, refuse to flake within reason. So if you have this event scheduled with a new friend, with someone who you're trying to foster a friendship with, and the day comes and you flake, it's human. Sometimes people cannot make it for various reasons, but don't make it a habit to flake on people you're trying to build friendships with. And I know that could be so easy to do, especially like in the winter season, especially when it's raining outside, especially if you love being home. But at the end of the day, I feel for me, if I'm not dealing with something like, I don't know, cramps, or if it's not a physical ailment or me needing deep introversion time, then I'm just not gonna flake. It took me a while to get here, honestly, probably like a decade, but I'm trying to make it a habit of not flaking. This one I personally want to get better at, and that is extending invitations. I think making and maintaining friendships is not something that you do passively. You have to be really active about it. And as I mentioned, I am an introvert. I am a homebody. I can go a very long time without seeing another human being and feel completely okay. Actually, I feel quite good being on my own. But at the same time, the older I get, I value human connection. So I have to make an active effort of extending invites to people. And that's something I really want to work on in the coming year, of just offering, saying, hey, let's go do this more. I do this. I'm not saying I don't do this at all. I just want to be more active at doing it. I want to try this with newer friends as opposed to friends I feel more comfortable with. Maintaining and creating friendships is very active. You have to be active in doing it, and that includes extending invitations to show that you value this person's time. You want to spend more time with them. It's a very obvious way to show that. When you meet someone for the first time and you want them to be your friend and you go your separate ways, someone has to extend an invitation for that next meetup. So why not let it be you? You see an event that you both would like, extend that invitation. And if you can't find an event and you would like to extend an invitation to something, go for a walk. Everyone loves to walk outdoors. So yeah, get out there and invite people to things. Another one is to work on yourself. And not for other people, just literally for yourself. What would make you feel better as a person? Would you feel better if you had a hobby? Would you feel better if you took out an hour a day for yourself to relax? Because when you feel good about yourself, you feel more confident when you're out and about and meeting new people. How can you continue to pour into yourself? How can you make yourself feel more confident about yourself? Figure that out. Outside of figuring out what you love about yourself, what makes yourself cool, figure out how you can, on your own as an individual, feel better about who you are. So then that way when you show up in a room, that sort of just shines. Be kind to yourself. We beat ourselves up if we do something embarrassing, especially in new environments, but give yourself grace. We are all human. Literally just this week, I went to an outing with some friends. A friend of a friend invited me to this outing, and everyone there was new to me. There were about like 7 people. I had to run, I had to leave. I was a bit in a rush, so I was a little bit frazzled. I was giving everyone a hug, leaving, and then I turned to someone who I'd already given a hug. I was like, did I give you a hug already? Like mid-hug, on the way to hug them again. And they were like, yeah. And I was like, okay, I guess I'm giving you another hug. And that's not the embarrassing part. The embarrassing part is that after that, I turned around to run because I was running late for something, and walk away really quickly because I was running late for something, and I slammed right into this guy. Like literally right body to body to this, right into this man. And in front of all these new people I just met, outside of the one friend who invited me to this outing, in front of all these new people I just met. And all I could do is turn around and look at them and laugh, because I'm human, and at least they'll remember me. They'll be like, oh, that's the girl who came with us to this outing and then bumped right into this man. That was embarrassing, but I was kind to myself afterwards. I could have beaten myself afterwards and been like, oh my God, I can't believe these new people I just met saw me bump into this man and then rush off. I did say sorry to the man, I'm pretty sure I did, and then just rush off. But I'm gonna be kind to myself and realize that I'm human and just take it for the funny situation that it is and was. And when I turned back to laugh at the girls, they were all smiling too and laughing, and that's fine. Be kind to yourself when you're in a group of new people. I think when we're in a group of new people, especially when we're trying to make new friends, we want to come off as someone who's not embarrassing, who's not cringe. But at the end of the day, we are all human. There's something embarrassing about all of us, or we will do something embarrassing at some point in our life. So embrace that. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others. Be kind to others if you see them doing something embarrassing, because that could be you. That could be you. It probably will be you at some point, and that is okay. I think that's the beauty of being human. You're gonna do some embarrassing shit along the way. A lot of the times, embarrassing situations aren't that big and bold, like the story I just told. Sometimes there's really subtle things that only you realize. So just have grace with yourself and keep it pushing. Those are my random tips around friendship, not necessarily how to make friends. I have tips on how to make friends and meet people in a new city, and maybe I'll make a video for that, because honestly, I think that is the easiest part. Is mainly the maintaining friendships that's hard, especially if you don't have a common ground like work or some sort of hobby or group that you're doing. But these are just tips to work on the deeper level stuff, the internal stuff when it comes to friendship, and also the things that we probably might not think about a bit more. When it comes to friendship, I think we think it's just going out the door, going to the event, oh, I met someone and now we're friends long term. In adulthood especially, I feel like it does not work like that. So that's what these tips are for. They're just tips around the whole action of making friends. Yeah, that's that. I honestly sat down to record a different video, but I'm realizing friendship isn't just about creating new friendships, in adulthood especially, isn't just about where you go. It's all about what's happening internally that could potentially prevent you from meeting these friends, and then also about the effort you make after meeting these people that fosters a friendship. So I hope this video helps in some way if you're in a new city or if you're just trying to make friends in general. Yeah, it can be tough, especially when you don't have a common place to meet on a regular basis, like a workplace or a school, but it's not impossible. And again, there are so many good people out there. There's so many people who share your values, who you can go out and have fun with. It sometimes can take a little effort, and that might just make it more worth it. So if you have any tips around making friends and around new friendships, please share them. I'm always looking to learn and grow in that department. I grew up in one city my entire life, and then after 30 plus years, I moved to a completely new city. And as an introvert especially, that is really hard. I have to intentionally push past my ways of being okay with being by myself. If you have any tips at all for making and fostering new friendships, please leave them below, and I will see you in the next video.